Hello? Hi. I'm gonna turn the music down just a bit. And let's go over here. Hi! Hi, Bunny sis! Hi, Noella. I love you. How are you doing? Aw. It's not that you don't exist, sorry. I'm taking a moment to gather myself. You're so eepy after work. Yeah, me too. Well, I hope you two are doing well. Okay, I'm gonna step away for just a second, and then we can start the stream. I was thinking I want to start a new visual novel, but I might want to go over my Steam results. Maybe that might be fun. I don't know. I guess we'll see how people feel. Anyway, I'm gonna be right back. Okay. Much better. I had to blow my nose. I can breathe again. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I hope your week has been good. I know Christmas is next week, and that kind of snuck up on me. I really wasn't prepared for that. Oh, did my stream have the right name? I think so. Neither was I. Yeah. I still haven't really gotten anybody any presents, so maybe I'll have to hit up the Steam store and figure out what to buy people. Okay, I'm gonna turn our music down. Actually, what's a good music substitute? I'd like something more like cheery for a minute. Let's do this one. Yeah. Okay. Calm down. Gonna lower your volume just a bit. Okay, hopefully that's not too loud. It's a bit over the top. Okay, I like that. It's super quiet, but that's fine for what we're doing. So, I guess this is a good time for me to learn how to do scene changes stealthily. I actually don't know how to do that. I don't know. Also, Priscilla, wake up. Oop. Okay, that's fine. Here, we're gonna go here. Let's add a new window capture. Oh, okay. Pick that up right away. Okay. I figured we could just go over this just because it's kind of fun. I like seeing things like this. And it's funny because I've been asking a lot of people about their results and everybody's like, why do you care? And I'm like, I don't know. It's fun to learn about people in that way. So I played 91 games this year, which is, that feels like way more than I actually played. I noticed I usually prefer playing with mouse and keyboard, but for this year, because I had a major surgery and I spent like 3 months being unable to sit properly, I got a lot of controller time in, and part of that was on the Steam Deck. A good chunk of that was. A lot of it was on the Steam Link too, and I still play the Steam Link a good amount. Lately, me and Yuki have been playing through AI the Somnium files on the couch, and that's been a really good time to use the Steam Link. Of course, Factorio with 6% of my playtime. It's actually really funny because if you check like you can see, like I played a little bit of Factorio, and then around this time is when they started mentioning like hyping up Space Age, and so my playtime just ramped up, and then Space Age came out. I adore Space Age, it's so good. I've been watching so much Factorio content too. It's kind of my obsession currently. I also played a lot of Stellaris. For like the 3 months that I was unable to use my computer, I played Stellaris a lot on the Steam Deck. So like, yeah, I love Stellaris. Let's see. I guess my surgery was like here. So maybe for the first 2 months I just didn't really feel like it or didn't have an interest in it. And then all of a sudden I played a ton. War Thunder, because I'm a huge nerd and I actually really love vehicles. Whenever like Momo or Yuki want to get my attention, they'll put on like a video about like the history of planes or something like that. It's like a lot of people are interested in war, and war is cool too, but well, not cool, but you know, it's interesting. But my main aspect of war that I truly like take an interest in is the vehicles. I love learning how they all work. So my longest streak was 44 days, and I think somewhere down here it tells you when that was. Yeah, here we are, May 10th. Hi, Neppy. Save game. Okay, I'll save in real life. Yeah, I love mechs. May 10th all the way up to June 23rd. Hi, Punderful. Let's see. So 400 achievements. Ah, the taco blush and the bark, bark, woof, woof, bark, bark, woof. Hi, Holy, and a smooch. I forgot what button it was for a second. I'm just taking a second to go over my Steam results. Ressie! Is that a cute bunny toy? Yeah. I pretty much exactly matched the Steam average with this one. 15% of my time was spent playing new releases, and 15% of the average Steam player's time was spent playing new releases. What's this? Oh, it's the Steam year in review thingy, the Steam replay for this year. I wanted to take a look at it. Okay, highest is obviously visual novels. And that's honestly because of you guys, you people. Because I love streaming visual novels to you. It's funny because I like streaming visual novels, but not because I like streaming specifically. It's more like I like talking to all of you about visual novels. It's really like playing a visual novel by yourself is nice, but I feel like content is always better when you experience it with others, when you get their opinion, you know, get to see their reaction, how they feel about things. Hi, Gaz. Bark, bark, woof, woof. Bark, bark. Hi, puppy. How are you? Obviously, visual novels first, space second, which I guess Stellaris, RimWorld, things like that. Automation, obviously, Factorio. Cyberpunk is, well, Cyberpunk, which I really need to finish that game. Colony Sim and Farming Sim. What Farming Sim? Did I play that much Stardew Valley this year? Not really. Space is up there for you? Yeah, that checks out. Obviously, Stellaris. My Factorio time just ramping up, and realistically, it's probably just going to keep growing because I've been having so much fun with that game lately. War Thunder, the Somnium Files. I've been playing that with Yuki in the mornings. RimWorld. I guess I got super into RimWorld for 1 month. Oh, right. That was the month leading up to my surgery. This is cool. Okay, yeah, so first 3 months of the year, I was super duper depressed and didn't really feel like doing much. And then April, I was super stressed and kind of trying to like play anything I could. Endless Legend and Endless Space Games? I haven't heard of those, no. Bunny Girl Senpai? Wait, you're fighting Bunny Girl Senpai? Oh, in League or something? Or Valorant? I'll have to check those out. I love space. One of my favorite games that I sunk a lot of time into in 2023 was Hard Space Shipbreaker. It's funny, games where you have a job are way funner than actually having a job. It's really, really cool. I also like, it's a job about breaking down ships, but honestly it's pretty, it has a lot to say about capitalism. Anyway, yeah, I guess after April, my playtime was pretty consistent. %22 of my time on the Steam Deck. Yeah, that checks out. 26 of my games played on the Steam Deck. So fun story that is not fully reflected here. When I was in the hospital with for my surgery, I brought my Steam Deck with me, but I didn't really feel like playing it much. So I had Umineko open. But I didn't really touch it that much, but I never closed it. Instead, what I would do is I would just like turn the press the power button on the Steam Deck, which just puts it to sleep mode. So my hours in Umineko were like absurdly high. I have a screenshot of it, but it said like 600 or something. And then when I connected to the internet, it went back down to normal. Oh, I forgot about Against the Storm. That's a cool little like settlement management game. Oh. Yeah, it is cool. You can recruit giant flaming demons, legally distinct xenomorph priests, and legally distinct sisters of battle while playing as underground techno Vikings. That sounds wild. I'm totally down. Let's see. Oh gosh, Helldivers, Cyberpunk. I did finish Jedi Fallen Order this year. That was fun. Chaos Head Noah was a really cool. Honestly, Chaos Head Noah was kind of like the start of a lot of things, because I played that game in the beginning of this year, and while I was playing it, I was just thinking like, this is really cool. I wish I had somebody to share this with. And that kind of was like the starting domino to what we are doing right now, me streaming visual novels. Let's see. So this is while I was recovering from my surgery and I was just bouncing around from game to game. Star Wars, New Vegas, Star Wars, Darkest Dungeon, XCOM, all sorts of random ooh, Rabbit and Steel. I love that game. Rabbit and Steel is so cool. Oh, hey, look. It's an actual like timeline. I forgot about Pal World. Kerbal. I wonder if Kerbal 2 actually runs okay now. More Chaos Head, Helldivers, Cultist Simulator. Shishingo's really cool. It's a very short, or like a very small game, but it's like you're set in like a tiny little like Japanese street with a camera, and you can just go around taking pictures of things and it'll tell you what they're called. And then you can play like a memory game where it'll tell you a word and you have to go find what that item is and take a picture of it. Oh, Potionomics. I adore this game. Hi, Ruby. Signalis. Dave the Diver. It's a fun one. Squirrel Stapler. Of course. Nier Automata. Skullgirls. I like Umineko is just so persistent in all of these lists. It never leaves. It's always there. I'm doing good. How are you? There's so many games that I started and never finished. And then this is when I started getting back into streaming. Was it really September? Was that recent? Heaven Will Be Mine, We Know the Devil. Oh yeah, Satisfactory released their 1.0. So I got into that for a bit. What's my Heaven Will Be Mine look like? I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds like fun, Gaz. Sayana Uta. Oh no. This is when I entered my Balloons Tower Defense arc. And herbs. Did a 7 Days to Die collab. And now we're here. Overall, I guess I did play all these, but I just didn't expect that I played so many games. I really suck at sticking with things, and I think that's another aspect of streaming that I really enjoy, is because it's like a consistent thing, it helps me actually finish games. Because I struggle with that a lot, where like I'll play games and I'll be like, this is great, but I'm just gonna go do something else now. Anyway, I think we're at the end of the list, but I just wanted to go through that. I'll have to compare more results with people. Okay, we're gonna do this and this and this, and gonna pause our Pokemon. Let's go to our scene. Okay, who's ready to start a new game? Technically a sequel, but we're going to be playing The End of an Obsession, which is the sequel to It Gets So Lonely Here. I tried to find this game on Steam, but actually I don't think Ebi has uploaded it to Steam yet. And you can't even like buy it. It's like completely free on their itch.io. So anyway, let's give it a try. There's the end of an obsession.exe and the end of an obsession 32.exe. I don't know what the 32 is, so I'm just gonna ignore it. I see. I love this menu music. Aww. Hi, Aversion. How are you doing? Ooh. This is so good. I need to make like a visual novel playlist, because there's been some bangers. I'm good. I'm glad you're doing well. Okay. I guess let's see where this goes. Is the audio okay? Is everything all right? You feel groggy when you finally wake up. Turn it down just a tad. The back of your head is throbbing and your mouth feels dry, as though it has been stuffed full of wool. With bleary eyes, you glance about. What time is it? Where are you? And, perhaps more importantly, who are you? You don't remember. Any attempts to probe the nooks and crannies of your memory are depressingly unsuccessful. Dwelling upon your identity too deeply hurts. It's a dull sort of pain, rather than a sharp one, but it makes you wince nonetheless. Perhaps it's better not to attempt to remember too much then. Thinking was never really your strong suit. Damn, I'm getting called out. Huh? That was an interesting drop for the music. You have always been a creature that existed upon pure instinct, a fool who thought that she was more intelligent than she was, who, It would seem I am getting carried away. Yes, please. I don't want to do thinking anymore. I think too much at work already. My apologies. My apologies. This is not that sort of story, and in any case, I hardly have the energy to be... We've already found our first vocab word! Gotta have like an alert that makes a bunch of confetti fall down. Acerbic. What does this mean? Acerbic. Sharp and forthright. Ah. Acidic, bitter. Okay, so like not sugar coated. Kinda. I'm afraid that this has already been done before, and I wouldn't want to be repetitive, or worse still, trite and tedious. Word girl is gonna become a permanent resident on the stream. I know what tedious is, but what's trite? Is that like annoying? Trite. Overused. And lacking originality. Okay, I see. What a weird little bit for the music to go through. I will try to restrain myself for the rest of this narrative. Okay, I believe in you. Now, let us return to your predicament. You do not know who you are or where you are, but with some luck, there should be something close at hand to jog your memory. It's bright, and you have to blink away spots of white which bloom behind your eyelids, hissing like scalded cats. Or hissing like a scalded cat. You rub your eyes with the heel of your palm. Your surroundings melt and twist around you, rippling like a troubled surface of a lake. Then, all of a sudden, you hear a voice call to you, light and bright and full of girlish amusement. Oh, I see you're finally awake. Who said that? Oh my gosh. I'm in love with her design. It's a bit over the top, but I want to see the whole design. Ah, just there. You see her now. I love her eyes are flowers. There is a woman standing by your bedside. Very normal girl. She has hair the color of a sunset that curls around her face. Her eyes are soft and a smile plays about her lips. Yeah, they're super cute. Also, she looks evil. She looks sweet. I think me and the narrator are having conflicting opinions about this. She looks sweet, like an angel, but you know only too well that looks can be deceiving. You are unsure whether you trust her. Just a normal, sadistic, cute girl. I mean, I do like being in the company of sadistic girls. It is hard to trust anybody when your head aches so much and you do not know where you are, especially a woman such as this, who looks so very at ease. Could never tell. I'm gonna turn my blush off for now. Does she not realize how anxious you feel, or does she simply not care? Become a crazed yandere. If you need someone to practice on, Gaz, Puts index fingers together shyly. You try to ask her what's going on, but you can only get half of the question out before you start to cough. Oh, you poor thing. The woman tuts, then hands you a mug of something warm. You've been through a lot, but don't worry, I'll look after you. Now here, drink this. You look down at the cup, and its dun brown contents askance. Dun? Dull grayish brown. Okay, and then askance. Suspicious or an attitude of disapproval. Okay, so we're suspicious. Okay. I like figuring out all the words. Is this really safe for human consumption? Yes, it's fine, silly. I've not poisoned it, if that's what you're worried about. In fact, it's the opposite. Am I already poisoned and it's an antidote? Also, that's such a cute face she's making. Oh my gosh. The opposite? Indeed, I enchanted it to soothe any unwanted aches and pains, and I'm sure your head is aching. It must be after everything that's happened. What happened? Now, I'll only answer one question at a time. It'll get confusing otherwise, and you must be plenty confused already. Now come on, drink. You are a little hesitant to fulfill this woman's request. She is a stranger, after all, and you have no idea what the liquid inside the cup is. This could be some sort of trap. But the woman is smiling, and she doesn't necessarily look wicked. Perhaps you can trust her? Maybe. You bring the cup to your lips, not knowing what else to do. The weight of her expectant stare is uncomfortably heavy, and begin to sip. The drink is warm, surprisingly so. It makes your lips tingle. As for the taste, well, it's not unpleasant. Okay. We take that. In fact, it's quite nice. Is that honey? You only intended to take a small sip of the curious drink, but before you know it, you have downed the whole mug. It tastes too good, and your head does feel a lot lighter now. You thank the woman hesitantly. You know not what else to say, and she beams. It's all right. I thought you could use a little pick-me-up after everything. You've not had an easy time of it. Haven't you? No? You don't remember? The woman asks. Not a single thing. Well, maybe that's for the best. What happened to you was probably quite traumatic, though I did try to be gentle. I didn't want to cause you any undue hurt, but here's the thing. It's surprisingly hard to kidnap a princess from a palace without causing a bit of a fuss. So she's our kidnapper, I'm in love with her. Yeah. I would have no reason to question anything that Yaz gives me. You are my brother, after all. Kidnapping a princess to save her, normal for girls. Yeah. That's just how you show that you care. The woman laughs. Her laughter is light, just like her voice, and it washes over you. It ought to be soothing, just like the drink she prepared you, but it isn't. Your shoulders do not get any looser. Instead, your whole body tightens. A princess, did she say? Yes, that's right. You're a princess, and I'm a witch. Everybody in the kingdom said you were singularly beautiful. Not that I put much stock in those rumors, of course. I mean, how many people can say that they've actually seen a princess? I thought it was all hearsay, just stuff and nonsense, really. But then I happened to glimpse you during a royal ball held to celebrate your 18th year, and I realized the rumors were all true. You really are beautiful. You're so beautiful. In fact, I had to have you for myself. The woman, the witch, leans forward. She's still smiling, but there's something unsettling about it. Usa! Dropping a lurk while D&D casting spells. Okay, I hope D&D goes well. It's good to see you, funny friend. Her teeth, you realize with a start, are awfully sharp. Her nails, meanwhile, are terrifyingly long. She cups your face in her hands, her long, long fingers resting against your cheekbones. Her nails scrape against your skin like knives. Her breath smells sweet, but only superficially so. Underneath it, you think you can detect something of the crypt, something oated. Oated? Is that like rotten? Smelling extremely unpleasant. Oh, okay. I've been laying low for a while, keeping to myself. I've been awfully good at these last 100 years, but it does get boring. You know, always being on my best behavior. I'm a witch, so I'm supposed to cause the odd commotion here and there. It's all part of the profession. It's in my nature to cause chaos. Witches exist to curse people and to cause problems. Lightly, the witch giggles, her sickly sweet breath skimming your face. And princesses exist to be kidnapped. I would like to be a princess, please. Especially pretty ones like you. That's the way it is. It's the way it's always been. I'm just fulfilling my role in this little story. So please, don't get mad at me. We can't help our innate natures. The witch leans in further still, her long fair eyelashes trembling. You looked so pretty in that gown of yours, which was paler than the moonlight. But I think you look even prettier as my prisoner, at my mercy, in this tower. She really knows how to get to a girl's heart. You are in a tower? Yes, that's right. It's a nice, tall tower, out in the forest. Nobody knows where it is except myself, and it's protected by all sorts of enchantments. It's not possible for anybody to get in or out. Anybody except me, of course. The king and the queen can send as many search parties as they want. It won't make a blind bit of difference. You'll not be escaping here in a hurry. You're all mine, to do with as I please. And I'm not going to let you go. The witch's eyes flash like lightning. For a few moments, she looks unsettlingly, unnervingly inhuman. You want to push her away, but you can't. Your body no longer wants to obey you. Was it the beverage she gave you earlier? The one which tasted of honey? You do not know. You have no earthly clue why your body is frozen, why you cannot bend your fingers nor blink your eyelids. But these thoughts, and all the other thoughts for that matter, are soon scattered. The witch dips her head. She closes her eyelids, her long lashes matting together. She parts her lips. Then she presses her mouth, which tastes of sugar and soil and something sinister, something which you could not describe, against yours. You, of course, are powerless to resist. How could you ever hope to push her away? You are only a princess. She, meanwhile, is a witch. It is her job to dominate you. Is that not how stories such as this always go? I'm loving this so far. This is very, very good. Once again, you feel groggy when you wake up. The back of your head is still pulsating and your mouth feels dry, as though it has been stuffed full of wool. Your stomach, meanwhile, is coiled up in knots. You feel sick. What time is it? You sit up in bed, blearily half asleep, wiping your eyes at the back of your arm when... Oh, are you finally awake? Oh. Alright, here's my prediction. I feel like we're in a time loop of some sort. And the main thing that makes me think that is that the music earlier, instead of like calmly repeating, it would do this thing where it made like a record scratch, like reverse and start the song over again, which makes me think that there's something involving time going on here, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm overthinking it. You glance up, your head snapping into position like a ball-jointed doll's. Noella coded. You recognize the woman who is standing by your bedside. It is the same woman you saw yesterday, the one who looks like a rose. Did you not say she was a witch? How very curious. You ask the witch what she is doing, an innocent inquiry, tempered by sleep, which makes her laugh. What does it look like, my dear? I am waking you up. Well, yes, you can see that. So why ask? But what time is it? It seems awfully early. It is not so very early, really. It is a sensible hour, one that young maidens, fair princesses such as yourself, should be up and about. I'm sure your servants awoke you far earlier than this, when you still lived in the palace, to help you with your toilet? Toilet. The process of washing oneself, dressing and attending to one's appearance. Interesting. I could tell because when I typed that word into Google, it said I already searched it up before. But I didn't remember. Did they not bathe you and brush your hair and dress you? Did they? You cannot rightly remember, but the witch is waiting for an answer, and you don't want to disappoint her. If you really are a princess, surely you must have had servants. You're adorable. You nod. What else are you to do? And the witch smiles. I knew it. You should have been awake hours ago. But I am an uncommonly kind witch, and I won't scold you for being slatternly? Dirty and untidy. Typically used of a woman. Wow. I'm gonna lurk, it's bedtime. Okay. Sweet dreams, Punderful. I used to be scolded myself when I was younger for, all sorts of misdemeanors. Most of them were made up. I don't want to I don't want to do unto you as others did to me, not when you are my very precious guest. Your face colors a bit at the compliment, though you cannot help but wonder who would be foolish enough to scold a witch. Well, I wasn't always a witch, you know. Was she not? No, people aren't born as witches, dear one. Dear one. They become them after being subjected to enough hurt during their lives that they wish to shed their former selves so that they might attain power of their own. Witches are humans who have been wronged, who wish to inflict some part of their suffering upon others in turn. Not that I mean to hurt you, of course. That would be a waste when you have such a pretty face and such lovely long hair, too. Now, the witch beams, looking positively perky as she retrieves a gilt-backed brush from your bedside table. Would you let me brush your hair for you, dear one? Your hair? Yes, your hair. It is awfully tangled, and you have rather a lot of it to look after. You must have been tossing and turning in your sleep because you've knotted it. I doubt you know how to brush your own hair, what with that fancy upbringing. So, may I? You eye the witch hesitantly, some of your former unease returning to you. Why, you ask the witch, does she care about your appearance so much? Why does it matter when you are trapped in this tower? It matters because you are a princess, dear one. A princess is still a princess, whether she is in a palace surrounded by her courtiers or trapped in a tower with a wicked witch. In fact, one might argue that a princess is even more of a princess when she's being held hostage by a witch. And how does that work? It's how all of these stories work. Princesses and witches are just two sides of the same coin, the good and the bad, the maiden and the hag. Not that I think I look particularly hag-like. Princesses love being captured. I really like the meta commentary of this. Like, the whole, I'm kidnapping you because I'm a witch. That's how it's supposed to go. That's what we do. As far as witches go, I think I'm a bit of an anomaly, but you're an anomaly too when it comes to princesses. Your hair is a rat's nest. I need to make you look presentable. Becomes a witch arc and kidnaps you. Please. Please, please, please. Anomalies, you say? Oh no. Get slow cooker. I saw a video today about how there's an anomaly that lets you, like if you put it on a champion and they kill another champion, they capture it. And that's cool and all, but apparently it works on jungle or on like the monsters too, including Elder Dragon. And I saw somebody got 2 champion duplicators. They got Elder Dragon and then they got a level 2 Elder Dragon, and it had like 18,000 HP and every attack did 1,350 in like a giant cone. It looked really fun. I had no idea you could do that. For whose sake? For the sake of a satisfying story. You don't understand what she means by story. This is real life, is it not? Well, I wonder, what is real and what is not is often up to the beholder. You wouldn't wish to look disheveled should a handsome prince chance by your tower, would you? You would make an awful first impression. Is it likely that a prince would stop by here? Not in the slightest, but Hope does spring eternal. If daydreaming about being rescued keeps you going, then who am I to rob you of that opportunity? Goodness, that is so generous of her. I know, I'm a veritable saintess. Now, come here. Your hair isn't going to brush itself. Okay. You can see that the witch is very insistent about this, though why, you cannot fathom, so you give in. Yeah. I'm loving this so far. It isn't as though you have many other options, being locked away in this tower as you are. Excellent. Now, just leave everything to me. I have experience, you know, when it comes to making princesses look pretty. Oh, really? Is she in the habit of kidnapping princesses? I mean, who wouldn't be? Wouldn't you like to know? The witch giggles as she settles herself down upon your bed, then reaches for your hair. Your body tenses at this initial contact, as if fretful she might strike you, might slice you. But the witch, despite her title, does neither of those things. Instead, she begins to work, as obedient as any drudge, running the comb through your locks over and over and over again until they start to crackle. On the third morning, okay, I guess there is no time loop. Maybe not yet. I guess we'll see. You are ready and waiting for your visitor when she arrives, though perhaps appears would be a better word, inside your tower. You have come to expect the witch's presence, so you are not surprised when she takes a seat at the side of your bed. You regard her uneasily, still attired in your nightgown, your hair rumpled after yet another night spent tossing and turning. You think that you had nightmares last night, though you could not remember them. Not clearly. Perhaps you were running in them. Is that why you awoke feeling so tense? Your heart beating a staccato rhythm inside your breast? Yes, that sounds about right. You were running, you can recall, albeit faintly, through a forest. Oh, interesting. But then the witch holds up a wicker basket from which a truly mouth-watering smell emanates, and your half-recalled dream dissipates before your very eyes. The witch giggles, and, in a girlish manner, she says, "Hungry?" You nod instinctively, without thinking about it. You cannot remember the last time you ate, and the witch beams. I thought so. Now here. The witch reaches into her wicker basket, then holds a flaky pastry out towards you. Do you want some? You stare at the pastry, your gaze affixed to it as if it were a holy grail, a sacred relic. So she kidnaps us and now she's giving us pastries and she brushed our hair? She's literally perfect. Like, there is no better girl than her. All of a sudden, you can think of nothing but food. You are ravenous, so much so it almost scares you. It is strange, though. You cannot recall feeling hungry at all, not until the witch presented this pastry to you. It is almost as if your body forgot what it meant to be hungry until now. You could have done without the hunger pangs, but now you have remembered what hunger is. You can feel it gnawing on your insides. You are not dripping at the mouth, at least, but you might as well be. You could reach out and take the pastry from the witch's long, bony fingers and stuff it into your mouth. You could tear your teeth into it, then swallow it in 2 bites. The thought is a tempting one, but it's not very princess-like. Starving though you might be, you must maintain your dignity. The witch watches as you hang back, abashed and tuts. Oh, stop being silly. If you don't get any food in your belly, you'll starve. Not even princesses are immune from hunger. Now look here. The witch breaks a piece of the pastry apart with her fingers. Then she proffers it to you. Say, ah. What? Are you really doing this? Doing what? This play act. You mean like lovers? Or else... Does she mean to treat you like a pet? I sure hope so. Okay. I am not just treating you like a pet. You are my pet. I own you and you belong to me. You are mine to toy with as I choose. But for the present, I would prefer to be nice to you, not nasty. Don't make me regret this decision. She's perfect. The witch's eyes narrow. A foreboding shadow crosses her pretty face, though it lasts less than a moment before it dissipates. 10 out of 10? Yeah. Yeah. Now, come, stop this silliness, eat. You still feel uneasy, but the witch's voice is firm and hard beneath the layers of sweetness and light, and you know better than to argue with her. You do not want to incur her wrath. You lean in. Then, as obedient as an enchanted lover, you part your lips for your captor. You spend your 4th day in the tower sitting by the window, looking out over the forest which surrounds you. There really are a lot of trees, you think distractedly, your legs dangling over the cool lip of the sill. They spread outwards like a green blanket, or else like an ocean wave, rippling and undulating in the breeze. You cannot look directly at the ground for too long. It makes your head spin. Just how high up are you? You ask this question to the witch, who is brewing a pot of tea over a small stove. She glances at you, a small smile playing about her lips, and she says, "High enough, dear one." You ask her how high that is, and she chuckles. Why does it matter? You won't be able to leave regardless, not unless you can sprout wings and fly like a bird. Do you think yourself capable of that feat? The witch's eyes bore into you. They're sharper than knives, and they make you shudder. You glance away from her, back out of the window, over the treetops. There is a moment of silence. Then you ask the witch what she would do if you did try to jump from the window. What would happen then? Then you would soon discover that you are not a witch or a bird, and you cannot fly. You would hit the ground and you would break all of your bones, and that would be that. Then you would die? Most likely, which is why I would not advise it. Of course, you're always welcome to try. But you'd be much worse off for it, don't you think? You suppose being crushed into a bloody, meaty pulp on the ground would be significantly worse than submitting to the indignity of speaking to the witch every once in a while. I knew you'd say that. You're a clever girl. It must be your fancy education. You princesses are all so very smart. You bask in the compliment for a few moments, but something in the witch's words make you frown. What does she mean, princesses? Why the plural? Are you not the first princess she has captured? Oh, well, you know how it is. We witches are very long-lived. We have 9 lives, just like cats. Oh, that's cute. Is that normal for witches, or is that... I wonder if that's... I've never heard of that before. Princesses, meanwhile, only have 1. It would be awfully lonely if I had to pledge myself to one princess, and one only. one alone, when I have endured for so many years. You understand that, don't you? Then, are you not the only princess she has kidnapped? Of course not. So long as princesses exist, witches like myself exist to lead them astray. But, worry not. In this moment, you are the only princess that I care for, and I will take good care of you. I can promise you that. Oh, dearie me, where has the time gone? The witch addresses you thus during your 5th day spent in captivity, after she is tired of toying with your hair. She stayed at your side rather longer during your visit than she has those in the past, and now the sun is beginning to set. The witch observes you, her long-lashed eyes narrowed, then says, "It's unfortunate, but I fear I cannot spend too much more time by your side. I need to be off. Even I have work to do." That's funny. You thought that, as a witch, it was her role to kidnap fair maidens. Is that not her primary line of work? I mean, is there really that much money to make in kidnapping fair maidens? Oh, I wish. It would be nice if there was any money to be made in kidnapping maidens. And who knows, perhaps there is. I love when I'm on the same wavelength as the author. And, like, I just so happen to think about what the next line will be. If I put a ransom on you, I am sure the king and the queen would acquiesce to my requests. I could make quite a tidy profit from capturing princesses. But they say you should never mix work and pleasure. While it would be nice to make a profit from my passion, I wouldn't wish to tire of my favorite pastime. That would be a true tragedy. So, she regards kidnapping young women as a pastime. Yeah, that's normal. Well, what else would it be? It's just a bit of fun. For her, maybe. But for you? Oh, I'm sure you'll get used to it soon enough. I've not been too unforgivably wicked to you, have I? You think, briefly, upon the kisses that the witch has plied you with during your last few days, her mouth pressed firmly against your own. You can recall the taste of her saliva upon your tongue. It was oddly floral, wasn't it? Everything about the witch is oddly floral, though you think she might be compensating for something. When she kissed you, you thought you could taste the earth and the dirt, silty soil and writhing worms. A moment passes, you blink, then quietly, you say no, she hasn't been too wicked to you. She has, by all accounts, been treating you quite gently, surprisingly so, for a witch. Well, there you go then. You have enough food to eat and clothes to wear and books to read. What more could a girl want for? Oh, you don't know. Your freedom, maybe? Freedom is overrated. How much of it did you have when you were a princess? That is a good question. You cannot remember. That's what I thought. The witch smiles smugly, then she leans in. She takes your face between her palms, cupping it, then says, "Now, look, there are many, many people out there who seek the aid of witches such as myself. There are many sad, lonely little girls out there with no friends and family, and nobody who will listen to them. Granting their wishes is my job, though I fear I've been ignoring their plaintive cries in favor of spending time with you. My clients will probably get angry if I keep shirking my duties. Now, that is particular. You are surprised that so many people would willingly seek the services of a witch. Do they not have a bad reputation in those lands?" Indeed, we do. A bad reputation is better than having no reputation, though. Some people are desperate enough that they're even willing to turn to the devil for help. I thought that you would know that already, dear one. You fail to see how this conversational topic is related to you. But then again, you have always been a bit slow on the uptake. In any case, I think I'll be busy for a few days. I won't be able to pay as many regular visits as I have been, but don't fret. I will try to hurry with my obligations as quickly as I can, so I can be with you once again, like fate ordained. Fate? Yeah, you know, Fate, the visual novel. Yes, indeed. A princess is nothing without a witch to keep guard over her. Without me, I fear your existence would lose all meaning. That's a very interesting take. If you have two sides of the same coin and one of the sides disappears, does the other coin really matter? Or does the other side of the coin really matter? But I would lose meaning without you two. We need one another, just like roses need the earth in which they sprout. So of course, I will return to you. I cannot help myself. We are drawn together, you and I, but if you wish for further reassurance, I do not mind making an oath. Now, look here. The witch relinquishes her grip upon you and takes a step back. For a few moments, you allow yourself to feel a flicker of relief, soothed by the distance which has now been put between yourself and the witch. Ooh. I love that. She's so cute. But then you see a flash of silver in the witch's right hand, and your relief soon withers. What is she holding? This is a knife, my dear one. Just a simple paring knife, really. I mostly use it for peeling fruit, but it should serve my purpose well enough. Behold. The witch lifts her right hand, holding it upwards so it is level with your curious eyes. She extends her long, bony fingers, flexing them so they seem to expand like the unfurling petals of a flower. With her other hand, she holds the handle of the knife steady. Distance? No. We're not doing that. Unblinkingly, she introduces the blade of the knife to her palm. Yeah, see, if I was the princess in this scenario, I'd be like, no, you're not leaving me. You can't leave me. You kidnapped me and you have to take responsibility. Then she presses. Blood begins to bloom on her white flesh in moments, her skin cleaving beneath the tip of the knife. You watch, entranced, as goblets of bright red splash against the silvery blade, sullying it. The witch cuts herself without any hesitation, without any emotion, as a gardener might snip through the stem of a flower with a pair of shears. Does she not feel any pain? It does not look like it. Her expression is quite impassive, unwavering even. You have wondered before, but you are quite certain now. She truly is not human. She has transcended such petty notions to become something otherworldly, something extraordinary. Now, let me do the same to you. Does she mean to... But of course, a pact has no meaning if only one person is making it, just as promises have no purpose if only one person is willing to keep them. I am already offering myself unto you, dear one. So, you need to offer yourself up to me, too. That way, we will always be bound together, not through words which are flimsy, but through something much more immutable. Both paupers and princesses are capable of telling lies, but blood is always honest. The witch speaks in a curious sing-song which does not match how cold and inhuman her eyes are. She brings down her knife, smeared copper brown with her own coagulating blood, against your palm. She presses the blade to your skin, which is soft and unyielding, unmarked by any calluses. Yours are hands which have never known hard work. Yours are hands which have never before known any hurt. There, just stay still, all right? That's a good girl. You're doing so well. But that was before you met the witch. Once more, you find yourself sitting by the tower window, looking out over the forest. The witch was right, you think glumly as you scan the tops of the trees. The tower really is deep in the woods. Though you strain your eyes, there is nothing but green, green, and more green. The trees are nigh on endless. You have pondered the pros and cons of jumping from the window before, so that you might run to safety, but you already know that this is a fool's errand. Your room in this stone tower is too high up, for one thing, for you to jump. If you were to attempt it, you would shatter both of your legs, or worse. You are unsure whether you can survive the fall, no matter how verdant the grass is at the base of your tower. And even if you did survive, you would not know where to run. You do not know where the nearest city is. For all you know, it could be miles and miles away. Nobody will be coming to save you, and you cannot save yourself. Princesses shouldn't be too proactive. This isn't how stories like these are meant to go. Like a good little girl, you sit by your window, looking out over the forest, which stretches on endlessly, and you think. You daydream and you dither, but in the end, you do absolutely nothing. Once again, the witch doesn't come to see you. It's been 2 days since last you saw her. Only 2 days, but the time has begun to drag. If she went through all the effort to kidnap you, then shouldn't she make the effort to spend a little bit more time with you? You'll have to give her a piece of your mind next time you see her. It really isn't proper, leaving a lady such as yourself alone for so long. But has it really been that long? It has only been 2 days. That is not so very much. Why then do you feel so uneasy? You have a vague feeling about... You have a vague feeling... Talking is so hard. You have a vague feeling that in your past life, a life you cannot remember, you did more than sitting about or lying about waiting. But what else do princesses do other than wait? They wait in their palaces for balls, and then they wait at these balls to be asked to dance, and then they wait for handsome princesses to propose and whisk them away to other bigger castles. You should be used to all this inertia, this yawning, empty nothingness, but it still gnaws at you. It consumes you, eating you away from the very inside out. But you were a good girl at the end of the day, and you know better than to overstep the boundaries of the role the witch provided you. Oops. I guess we could save. You are a princess, and princesses ought not to try and escape. I'm a good princess. All you can do, instead, is remain in your room and let the world pass you by. Dear one, it's really good to see you again. I missed you. This is what the witch says when she appears in your tower one sunny morning, after smoothing down the satiny fabric of her petal-shaped gown and adjusting her hair. You jump upon hearing the witch's honeyed words and drop the book you were perusing from your awkward, fumbling fingers. Wide-eyed, you glance towards the window where your unexpected, though perhaps anticipated, guest is standing. You hope it does not show on your face. You do not want to be too woefully obvious, but part of you is relieved to see the witch again. You still do not care for her, of course. She is your captor, but her company is better than no company. Though you have always had a fondness for reading, books can only alleviate so much of your loneliness. It is always better to have somebody else to speak to, even if that somebody else is a witch. How have you been getting along, dear one? The witch asks you, her voice positively skipping, and she approaches you. I hope you've not been too bored without me. Your cheeks prickle as you dip your head. Quietly, you mumble something in response, that it has not been too bad, really. You have been reading, and books are amusing diversions. Yes, I know that full well. I used to read a lot myself when I was younger and more awkward than I am now. In my youth, all my friends could be found inside of books. I am glad that we have so much in common. You will have to tell me all about these stories you have been reading later, but for now. The witch looks you up and down. She takes in your disheveled state. You have not been awake long, though the sun is high in the sky, and tuts. Your hair is full of more knots and tangles than a bramble bush, and the collar of your off-white nightgown is slipping down one of your shoulders. You must make quite the sight, a supposition that the witch affirms with a click of her tongue. Dear, dear, you have not been looking after yourself at all. I know being shut up in this tower must be tedious, but you are still a princess. You can't afford to be so careless with your appearance. You really would be helpless without me. The witch retrieves the brush from your bedside table and then approaches you. Let's get you looking pretty, shall we? The mattress depresses beneath the witch's thighs, and you sigh. You know there is little point to trying to pull away from her. Even if you did, where would you go? The witch is all that you have. Without her, you are nothing. Your own worthlessness has already been imbued deep within your bones. You do not want to admit it, but even you cannot deny the wave of relief which comes when you finally submit to her. Relatable. The witch stays with you in your tower for a few days, just as she did when you were first incarcerated. She tells you stories about her travels and about the sad girls who wishes she oh so kindly grants. She also tells you fairy tales, some of which you remember, though vaguely, from your childhood. She toys with your hair, weaving flowers through it, and she brews you cups of tea to keep you warm. She's so sweet. I love her. She dresses you up in various outfits, and she paints your face as if you were a doll. Ah, this is so good. I want this. Then, when the night falls, she takes you to bed, embracing your bodies, slotting together as if you were meant to be. Oh my. Though her touch unnerved you in the beginning, you begin to find a strange sort of comfort in her proximity. You cannot recall anybody being as gentle with you as her. Though perhaps that is not saying very much, given you cannot recall much at all. Then, when she leaves you, you cannot help but feel her loss. The tower feels uncomfortably empty in her absence, like a newly missing tooth, an empty cavity which aches. I, that sounds nice. You sit up in bed early in the morn after her departure and toy with your hair. You run your fingers through it just as the witch did, but you are hopelessly clumsy and your fingers falter. You try to braid your hair, but you cannot manage it without it coming untied. Part of you wonders whether this is not some great failing, given you are a princess. Are princesses not supposed to take great pride in their looks, primming and preening? You must be a poor sort of princess. But despite that, the witch still cared enough to try and kidnap you. That must mean that you are worth something, if not to your parents. Did they really ever love you if they haven't bothered to look for you? Then to the witch. At least you have her, and that is enough, for the present, to soothe you, no matter how hollow your heart might feel. The days pass by slowly as you wait for the witch's return. Not you try to tell yourself that you really care about her. She might have braided your hair oh so gently, threading flowers through it, and she might have fed you sugary sweet treats with her fingers, but still she tore you away from everything you once knew and loved. She has ruined your life. You know that you should despise her. But when the witch finally returns, you set your book down a little too quickly and look at her a little too expectantly. Going all puppy mode when owner returns, like I do that too. The witch seems to notice this. She notices everything with those eagle eyes of hers because she giggles and says, My, somebody's eager. Did you miss me that much, dear one? Your face flushes at this, like a red-capped mushroom, and inwardly you wince. You wish you weren't so transparent. You look at your feet, you cannot look at the witch, your captor, and mumble something that is only faintly intelligible. Your response is hardly elegant, but the witch catches the general gist because she chuckles. Come now. Don't be like that. I know you like me, really. Otherwise, you wouldn't look so enthusiastic. You tell the witch sullenly, in the voice of the truculent? Truculent? Eager or quick to argue or fight. Aggressively defiant. In the voice of a truculent child, that you are not enthusiastic. She's reading too much into things. So basically, we're being a brat. If you say so, dear. The witch smiles and then reaches into the wicker basket that dangles from the crook of her arm. It seems like you're determined to be difficult today. Though why, I don't know. You'll ruin your pretty face, scowling at me like that. But maybe this will cheer you up? The witch draws something from her basket and, entranced to despite yourself, you observe her. You see that she is clutching a small stack of books, 3 of them to be precise, bound in leather. She holds them to you like a peace offering, her smile soft. Here, is this enough to satisfy you, dear one? You thank the witch for her thoughtfulness, feeling ashamed by your earlier conduct, and she beams. It is no trouble at all. I would not wish for you to be bored. Now, let me look at you. How have you been faring in my absence? I see you've been eating well. That's good, but... The witch examines you critically, as a sculptor might eye a piece of marble, conjuring with their mind's eye the hidden art piece waiting to burst from within. Something about the way the witch looks at you makes you tremble. Her gaze really is discerning. It's as sharp as a razor, uncomfortably so. Why does the witch make you feel like this? You do not know, but... Oh dear, your hair looks awfully naughty. I fear you have not been taking proper care of it. You ask the witch once more why it matters, and she tuts. Of course it matters. If you stop paying attention to your appearance, my eyes might begin to wonder. I am a fickle woman, after all. No, please don't leave us. She is hardly a woman. She is a witch. Yes, exactly. We're notorious for being inconsistent, though I suppose that is what happens when one lives as long as we do. The witch chuckles, then retrieves the gilt-backed brush from your bedside table next to the pile of books. Now, would you let me take care of you? Let's get you looking presentable. You bristle at the witch's words. How impetuous she is, though you wonder whether your response mightn't be, in part, from anticipation. The thought of being taken care of is not wholly unpleasant, even if the one who means to take care of you is a witch. I wonder if this whole game is going to take place in this single room. That'd be a very interesting, challenge that the writer has set for themselves. It has been almost a month since you were kidnapped. Not that you know it. Time has lost all meaning to you, shut away within your tower, but it continues still. That is 30 days, and soon to be 30 nights, more than 700 hours spent trapped within the stone walls of your new home. Yes, you suppose you have begun to regard this place as a home. It is where you now live, whether you like it or not. You have not yet found a place to escape. You do not know if such a way exists. The walls of your tower are thick and impermeable, and your room is too high up for you to jump out of the window. There are no stairs which lead downwards to the entrance at the base of the tower, if indeed there is an entrance at the base of the tower. For all you know, there is no way out. Is that not what the witch told you? She said that she was only able to enter and exit at will. You, meanwhile, are quite in her thrall, incapable of escaping. You have been in there for such a long time, you are beginning to wonder whether you even want to escape. Where would you go if you were able to leave? What would you do? You do not know. So you continue to stay there. There is nothing else for you to do. We're going through a lot of days. You funny, cute kitty. Cutest kitty. Do you ever feel like screaming, dear one? Yeah, screaming is fun. It helps me get out my autistic energy. The witch asks you this question one day when she is sitting with you upon the bed. Once more, she is toying with your hair, her fingers snicking through it like the teeth of a comb. Her fingers are long and cold, as are her nails. They scrape against your neck, oddly inhuman, and you tremble, though you try to suppress it. You do not want her to know that she unnerves you, or worse still, that she endears you. You ask the witch, who sounds uncommonly weary, whether something is bothering her, and she sighs in response. Is it that apparent? It is rather apparent, yes. It is not like the witch to speak of being tired. You thought this was an emotion which afflicted lesser people, not all-powerful beings such as herself. Oh, you flatter me. I am hardly all-powerful. I endured my fair share of hardship before I was able to become the woman I am today. I have suffered in my time. Oh yes, more than you might realize. But my recent suffering has been of the more manageable garden variety, I suppose. You incline your head, taking care not to disturb the delicate braids the witch is twining through your hair, in interest. What manner of suffering could be described as garden variety? It is silly, really, but... The witch clears her throat and then says, I told you that I grant wishes, yes? You think she had mentioned it, yes? Well, there's the thing. Putting yourself in a servile position to others only ever results in headaches. So many girls demand so very much of me, it fast becomes tiring, and they can be so ungrateful too. I have been doing my best to live up to everybody's expectations, but it wears upon me. I have rather begun to sicken of other people. They can go and rot for all I care. But you are different. I know, no matter how much hardship I have to endure, you will not leave me. You will not abandon me. I won't let you. My, you really have become obedient, dear one. The witch's voice is warm in your ear, her breath ghosting against your skin as she sits behind you, under your bed. This witch really is just like me, for real, on God, no cap. Once again, the witch is toying with your hair. She never seems to tire of it, and you no longer try to pull away from her. You do not want to. What would you be without her? At this point, you can hardly imagine. The witch, recognizing how dependent you have become, giggles and says, You really are a good girl. You have quite the handful. You were quite the handful in the beginning, but you've warmed up a good deal. It makes for quite the change. Now, tell me, dear one, do you miss me when I am not there? You swallow. Your own saliva tastes musty on your tongue, like an old dress which has not been worn in years, like a subterranean prison cell which sees no sunlight. Though the witch is asking, it is a moot question. She already knows the answer. Yes, you miss her. When she is away, you miss her awfully. How nice. I'm glad to hear it. It's wonderful that you can finally be honest with yourself, but I think you're still holding back. Holding back? Indeed, I think your feelings towards me, dear one, are even more intense than that. If you miss me, then it makes me wonder, do you also love me? For a few moments, you simply sit there, stunned. You know not what to say, what to do. Though the witch's touch is gentle, you feel trapped, a prisoner clapped in irons. If you had strength enough, you would throw her hands off you and scramble away, clutching what little remains of your dignity to your chest. But what dignity What dignity do you really have left when you have already surrendered yourself to a wicked witch? You can no longer pretend to have any airs and graces, but even then, you find there is only one thing you can say to her. No. Well, we finally get to our first choice, and it's a forced one. What I've learned is Ebi-Hime is just constantly aiming at me specifically. I am her target audience. Well, I don't know. Maybe girls who are more literate than I am, because I struggle a lot with the words. But the stories are my cup of tea. I don't love you. Oh, the witch frowns, her arms crossed. Is that so? You worried initially that the witch might be hurt by your response, but that does not seem to be the case. Instead, she seems to ponder, now holding one hand beneath her chin. A moment passes, and then... Well, it is no matter. I expected as much. We haven't spent all that much time together. Not yet, at least. For a witch, a few months is nothing, really. We are beings who exist beyond even mortal conception of time. We see years as seconds, months as a mere blink of the eye. Yeah, I guess you're right. I've always struggled with literacy, honestly. True, yeah. I could keep doing this over and over again until you profess to love me, as I know you do deep down. Here, the witch smile takes on a sinister edge. She retrieves her knife from the air. Where did she pull that? You hardly know, and then says, "And I think that is just what I will do. Now, please don't squirm, dear one. This won't hurt too much." Is she gonna kill us? Is she gonna kill us? Oh my god, is she gonna kill us? I hope so. You want to ask what she means and what she wishes to do with that knife, but you can't get the words out. Though perhaps this is a good thing. Such questions are awfully trite and tedious, and they are pointless besides. You already know what the witch is planning. She moves in, quick and nimble as a dancer, winding an arm about your waist in this past the ducks? Narrator's fed up with our shenanigans. This music is so wild. It's so out there right now. I'm guessing this is a French dance. Well, let's see. Pass a ballet dance performed by two dancers. Okay. The term is French for a step of two. I see, okay. You are her partner, pulled close to her chest as if in a lover's embrace. You feel her fingers splayed against you, feel her breath upon your cheek. Then you feel the blade of her knife. It enters your chest, plunging deep, deeper than you thought it possible for such a small knife to penetrate. You gasp. You splutter. The front of your nightgown blooms red, just like a garish rose, so bright it hurts for you to look at. It's too painful. The smell of copper fills the air. It fills your mouth. Your vision begins to skew, as does your body. You pitch to one side, clumsy as a duckling, no longer a ballerina worthy of performing upon the same stage as the witch. She is graceful and elegant, as if she is made of air, and you have never felt more lumbering. Cute emote. Um. Oh, are you actually blind? A short bulletin point of what you can and can't do. Do you mean to sleep better? Or to stay awake? You pitch to one side, the witch stepping back in a flurry of crimson as she does. Oh my, careful dear, I wouldn't want you to stain my lovely dress. Then, your head hits the floor with a smack. For a few moments, as you lay there, you know pain, a sharp, intense agony which consumes you like a wildfire. Your blood pours from your chest, pooling on the floor in a sick, sticky puddle. You try to breathe, but your body refuses you. Your lungs ache, and every inhalation is agony. The few sad, pathetic snatches of air you are able to inhale taste like glass. It hurts. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. But, to your immense relief, it doesn't hurt very long. The witch bends down, knife in hand. Gently, she caresses your face as though she means to soothe you, as though she cannot contents how you came to be in such a sorry state. My apologies, dear one. I wasn't as efficient as I would have liked. I still don't have much practice with this, but I am sure you'll forget it all soon enough. In a few minutes, this will all fade away, just like a bad dream. Then she plunges the knife into your limp, unresisting body once more. You feel the cold, inorganic material plunge deep inside you, chilling you from the inside out. The knife violates your body, which is fast becoming a corpse. More of your life's blood oozes from the gaping, violent wound in your stomach, which is very, very red, just like a rose. This writing is so romantic. Then there is nothing. You bleed out, your vision blurring, and you die. You do not even have a chance to try and resist your fate. The witch is not merciful, no matter how she claims to care for you, and she will not grant you such a reprieve. Why would she, when you rejected her so callously? In this fairy tale theater full of bad endings, you reaped what you sowed with your cruelty, your callousness. But don't worry, this is not the end. Don't you know that all fairy tales have a happily ever after? Some intense breathing. I need to sleep better. My eyesight is no longer savable. It's well bad enough. I need a prescription for my prescription to get my lens special made. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know if you have a job, but I also used to have trouble sleeping until I got a job. And now I'm constantly so tired that I could just pass out at a moment's notice. The bunny disco? What's that? That sounds cute. I don't know. I think I don't really know how to help people get to sleep because it comes so easily to me. It kind of comes too easily to the point where I fall asleep at times where I don't want to. Um but I know it's hard if you have like insomnia. You feel sick when you finally wake up. Like an injured animal, you lie there, so enfeebled you can scarcely move. Your chest hurts as though it was recently split apart. Your heart, meanwhile, hammers anxiously in your breast, a thick, unwieldy piece of muscle which is working too hard to assert its own existence. With trembling fingers, you look down. You half expect to find the front of your nightgown dyed red with blood, but it is not to be. Your nightgown is pure, pureless white instead. The fabric smooth and unwrinkled. How peculiar. You were so convinced upon waking that you would find a crater in your chest, a hole where your heart used to be, that your reality is a touch disappointing. It feels like a letdown. But you would rather have your heart in place, you suppose, inside your breast than outside it and lying upon the floor. With your immediate welfare assured, you then glance about your surroundings. You think that this room, with its stone walls and the bookcase and the wooden chair by the window, look vaguely familiar. Where have you seen it before? You wonder this, trying to grasp at the faint, fleeting memories when you hear a voice. You whip your head about, the lights in the room flickering, the sun outside sinking, then rising again, and... Oh, I see you're finally awake. You recognize the voice, but where is its owner? Ah, just there. You see her now. Alice Murder Detective? I'm curious to look into that now. I don't know if I've heard of that game before. Interesting. You know a game I want to play? I want to play that Sonic murder mystery game where it turns out Sonic is dead. That would be a fun like April Fool's stream or something. There's so many visual novels I want to play for you. The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is also a legit Sonic game? Like, you mean it's official, or... Wait, it's canon? Wait, when you say it's a legit Sonic game, do you mean like you actually have to like play it? Oh, it has actual Sonic gameplay in it? I'm really bad at Sonic. I did always like playing with the Chow Garden though. I saw there's somebody making a cool game. So, okay, you know about the Chow Garden, right? And do you know what Kirby's Air Ride is? Or Kirby's Epic Air Ride? I don't remember what it's called. But there's somebody making a game that's like a spiritual successor to both of those. And that sounds so cool. Prayer? Sonic, aka Krillin. There's a woman standing by your bedside. She has hair the color of sunset that curls around her face. Her eyes are soft and a smile plays about her lips. Yeah, Kirby's Epic Air Ride. That's the one. That game is so cool. She looks sweet, like an angel, but you know only too well that looks can be deceiving. Have you not spoken to her once before, in this very room? You are sure you have, but the harder you try to grasp these details, the more faint and flimsy they become. Perhaps you are making it up. You have always had a penchant for daydreaming. That's really funny. I'm really excited for the Sonic 3 movie. You have not seen this woman before, and if you have, you must have seen her in a dream. Or else, perhaps, a nightmare. Oh, you poor thing, the woman tuts. It is almost as though she can tell what you are thinking, or maybe she can simply see your feelings written upon your face, because, she says, you look to be in a bad way. You're awfully dazed, but I ought to be able to help you. Here, drink this. Is it like a mind erasing tea or something that makes us totally forget the past cycle? The woman with eyes like roses hands you a mug, one which is earthen and full of some warm liquid of a suspicious honeyed hue. You look down at the cup and its dun brown contents askance. Is this really safe for human consumption? Yes, it's fine, silly. I've not poisoned it, if that's what you're worried about. In fact, it's the opposite. Witch needs to drink more water. True, yeah. Reminds me of the scene in ReZero where Subaru is talking to Echidna, the witch of what is she? The witch of... I forgot. But she hands Subaru a cup of liquid and she's like, drink this. And he's like, okay. And then he drinks it. And he's like, wait, what was that? And she was like, it's some body fluid of mine. But doesn't tell him what body fluid. Is she the Witch of Greed? Is that what she is? Echidna. Yes, Witch of Greed. Okay. The opposite? Indeed, I enchanted it to soothe any unwanted aches and pains. I wonder... Can I do this? Actually... Skip red text only. Oh. Okay, I see. Then you take in the woman standing before you. Or is she a woman? It is hard to tell. Her appearance is oddly amorphous, seeming to shift even as you observe her between various ages, various states of being. In one moment she looks younger than you, fresh-faced and rosy-cheeked, a young maiden not yet in her 18th year. But in another moment you could swear she is ancient beyond mortal comprehension, decades of experience painting her face so that the hollows of her eyes seem to sag. How old is this girl woman? You girl woman. This apparition of no fixed appearance, with her pale skin and her pale pink hair. You do not know. You cannot get to the bottom of her. Oh, I can bottom for her. She is like a puzzle box, a mystery which demands solving. But you're tired and your head hurts, and you scarcely know who you are, let alone who this girl, this woman, is. You cannot think. It hurts to think. But that does stand to reason, does it not? The woman, did she not introduce herself yesterday as a witch? Said that you were a princess and princesses are not supposed to think? If you try and employ too much brain power, you will accomplish naught save ruining your good looks. True, yeah. I think being a bimbo is a good choice, and I support this. It is better to not bother. You ask the witch what she is doing, an innocent inquiry tempered by sleep, which makes her laugh. What does it look like, my dear? I am waking you up. Empty-headed bunny. Briefly, you think of denying her query. What was her query? Oh, about us being hungry. Is this the bread one? Yeah. Briefly, you think of denying her query. Though you know you are being unreasonable, it feels almost like an accusation, as if she is mocking you for needing to consume food to live. For some reason, admitting to the witch that you possess such base needs feels excruciating. You would just as soon admit that you like rolling about in the dirt like a beast. That is how she makes you feel. You keep your mouth closed, your lips pressed together, but, though your mouth might be silent, the rest of your body is not so obedient. From your stomach, a low, earthy rumble emits, loud enough that there is no mistaking it. You wind your arms about your stomach, but it makes not a blind bit of difference. It continues to rumble regardless, low and deep, like an undersea disturbance. The witch notices it. Well, of course she does. How could she not? And she giggles. Well, at least your body's honest, even if your mouth isn't. Your face flushes bright red at this, of all the indignities, but the witch does not linger upon it. Ravenous princess. I would also be ravenous if somebody gave me baked goods. I love bread. Bread is so good. Perhaps she is trying to spare you. Instead, she reaches into her whisker basket, then holds a flaky pastry out towards you. Okay. What was after the pastry day? Can't remember. I think it was the hairbrushing one. The breeze disturbs your hair, the hem of your dress. You exhale. A few moments pass, awkward moments as the witch hums to herself while you glance out over the trees. A question rises to your throat, one that feels too large for your slender body. You know you will not like the answer, but you still feel compelled to ask. Why, you ask the witch, did she trap you in this tower in the first place? What does she want from you? Oh, you silly thing. The witch steps aside from the stove, then kneels before you. She takes your hand between her long, bony fingers and then gives them a squeeze. A shock of cold knives through you, and you shudder. With wide, deer-like eyes, you observe the witch as softly she says, I don't want anything from you. I just want you. You do not understand the distinction, and you tell her as much. What does she mean? What I said. You don't need to do anything, dear one, or say anything. You don't need to be anything other than yourself, of course. I didn't bring you here because I desire you to act in a certain way. I just wish to enjoy your company. There is something a little flattering, you suppose, about that. Your heart flutters, color rising to your cheeks. But it still does not answer your question. If she wanted only to enjoy your company, why did she have to keep you a prisoner? Could she not enjoy your company in another manner? One that's less inconvenient? Naturally, that is what I wished, but it isn't so easy, you know. It isn't. No, dear one, you are a princess, you see, and I am a witch. We could not have been together if you had remained in the palace. You would have been wed to a boorish, loutish prince who wouldn't appreciate you, and I would be distraught. Distraught? Does she truly care for you that much? I care for you a lot, dear one. The witch speaks softly, her voice disarmingly gentle as she cups your cheek, her fingers sliding into your hair. Her digits are still disturbingly bony, but you find you don't mind it as much as you thought you would. It no longer bothers you. There's something almost soothing about her touch. That is why I had to kidnap you. If I want to put it selflessly, I suppose, I could say I meant to rescue you from your tedious fate of being wed to some strange man and whisked away to a foreign land, taken far away from me. But I'm a witch, so I'm selfish, and that's not really why I brought you here. Aw, thank you, Holly. I feel like my voice kind of hurts today, because work was super duper busy. Thank you for the head pats. I just need to work on my voice stamina. Ooh, honey tea. I love honey tea. Yes, please. It sounds really nice on my throat right now. I brought you here because I wanted to be with you. I couldn't bear to see another speak to you or touch you. I wanted to keep you all to myself, which is why you can't leave. I knew from the moment I laid eyes on you that I wished you to be mine, and so I took you. That's all there is to it. And if you ask, your voice shaky, you were to jump out the window, what then? Okay, let's skip some more. Okay, so she's talking about how she's a witch and she grants wishes. Your brow furrows, your expression flat and dull, uncomprehending. Did you once turn to a witch, this witch, for help in the past? If you led a life as sheltered as the witch is claiming, it doesn't seem beyond the realms of possibility. But this, like so many other things about your past, will have to remain a mystery. In any case, I think I'll be busy for a few days. Though you have always had a fondness for reading, books can only alleviate so much of your loneliness. I think one thing I do love, like time things, like time loops in visual novels, and I think they fit really well. The way this is paced is a little jarring, the way we're bouncing from conversation topic to conversation topic, because we're just kind of going through the same things that we already talked about, but just adding new context to it, or new content. but it's still very interesting. It is just a little bit jarring. Yes, you think that is the right word for it. Your tower is lonely. You have been trying to admit it, not even to yourself, because that feels like a confession. I've been trying not to admit it, because that feels like a confession of weakness, but the quiet has been gnawing at you. Though the witch is no ally of yours, it is quite the opposite. In fact, it is nice to have another human to interact with. Not, you suppose, that she is a human, not in the traditional sense of the word. She is still a witch. You cannot trust her, and yet... How have you been getting along, dear one? The witch asks you, her voice positively skipping as she approaches you. I hope you've not been too bored without me. Okay, I think. Okay. When the night falls, she takes you to bed, embracing you, and your bodies slotting together as if they were meant to be. Though her touch unnerved you in the beginning, you begin to find a strange sort of comfort in her proximity. Who else do you have, after all, to spend time with? Who else will look at you like the witch does, with enchanted eyes as if everything you have to say, not that she gives you ample opportunities to speak, is utterly enrapturing. You have never met anybody like her before. At least, you do not think that you have. Your past is hazy, your memories vague and cloudy like the surface of an old mirror. You cannot remember. Still, you think that the witch must be special. She makes you feel special, and that is reason enough to hold her in high esteem. Then, when she leaves you, you cannot help but feel her loss. The tower feels uncomfortably empty in her absence, like a newly missing tooth, an empty cavity which aches. Oh, here we are. Do you also love me? You stare at the witch with wide, anxious eyes, just like a deer's. This question has stirred something within your chest, half-remembered dreams, perhaps, or passing fancies. Or maybe even memories? You can recall somebody asking you this question once, a long, long time ago, but you don't remember who it was. You don't remember how you responded to their query. You do remember the pain, however, short and sharp. Then there was nothing. Well, the witch asks, her rose-colored eyes affixed upon you. What do you have to say? You do not know. You stand there shaking, your hands clasped to your heart as if to defend it from a vicious predator, a clever-eyed crow, perhaps, who likes to make meals out of knock-kneed princesses. What should you say? Oh God. I don't love you, I don't love you, I don't love you, I don't love you, I don't love you. I don't want to pick any of these. Though you know the witch's question is a loaded one, you know full well what answer she wants. You cannot bring yourself to give it. You cannot tell the witch that you love her, even though your body is screaming at you to do so, your every nerve ending on fire. You have vague memories of beholding the scene once before, of the witch standing before you, knife in hand, but even then you will not betray yourself. You will not let her get the better of you. She has taken so much of you already, your freedom, your future, and so many, many hours. You will not let her have your heart too. That is something you must guard jealously, for, as a princess, is your heart not the greatest asset? You must keep it safe, so that you might bequeath it to a handsome prince who might one day come by to rescue you. But the witch must know what you are thinking, because the smile which paints her lips is cruel, mocking even. She snorts, then says, "Oh, you mean to reject me because you think a prince might rescue you?" It is a pretty notion, my dear, but there is no prince to rescue you now. There is just you and me. You can accept my love or not, but if you don't, you will suffer the consequences. Haven't you learned your lesson already, you silly thing? You really are stubborn. There is a flash of light. The witch retrieves, seemingly from thin air, a knife, one with a short blade, but it is sharp enough. You know from past experience how very devastating that blade can be. You are sure now, as you back away from your captor, that this scene has played out once before, exactly as it is now. You are sure that the witch has descended upon you, knife in hand, but your feet refuse to move. They root you to their spot, as if you were an old oak tree incapable of breaking away. This is simply your role to play in the story. Fair, pretty princesses always meet tragic ends like this when there are no princes about to rescue them. You played with fire, you poor little fool, and now you have become hopelessly burned. The witch plunges the knife into your breast for a second time, while you stand there, unresisting. This time, she makes quicker work of you, and she pierces your heart in a single blow. Your body slumps to the ground, senseless, just like a doll's. And, once again, the cycle repeats itself. You feel pained when you finally wake up. I don't know. It's hard to talk about, even though I want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it. But I adore this storyline so much, and it is very Higurashi coded. Specifically, like season 5 of Higurashi. That would be another good game, but I'm pretty sure that one is super duper long too. Actually, do I have that one on my list? Hold on, let me see. I don't. Hold on, let me add that to my list. I guess Higurashi is roughly 70 hours to complete, which is, I mean, that is a lot, but that's half of Umineko. Oh, oops. I accidentally pulled out the gun. Hmm. How about... Hmm. Your whole body burns as though cast into flames, and the first thing you do upon waking up is scream. You scream over and over again like a banshee, all while tearing at your body, grabbing fistfuls of cloth between your fingers as if you mean to rend your own nightgown asunder. Somebody stabbed you. You can remember that much. A knife plunged into your chest, between your ribs, and pierced your heart. You bled out and you died, and it hurt. It hurts so, so much, and you don't know why you're still sitting here, unblemished, or why you're still breathing. What is going on? You shouldn't be alive. You died. You're sure of it. You know that you died. You felt yourself dying. You felt your corpse slowly becoming cold as you lay there, still and stiff, a porcelain doll made immovable, mutable flesh left to mold and wither away. But your chest is whole, your nightgown clean. There is no blood. There is no wound. What happened? You examine yourself, your heartbeat slowly steadying. With shaking hands, you press your fingers to your chest as if this act might reveal some secret cavity in which you can wriggle your digits inside like worms. You pat yourself down, but in vain. There is nothing wrong with you at all, and now you're starting to feel rather silly. You flush, embarrassed at your unseemly conduct, when, all of a sudden, you hear a footstep. You whip your head upwards, the lights in the room flickering, the moon outside sinking, then rising again, and... Oh, I see you're finally awake. You recognize the voice, but where is its owner? Let's see where this goes. So this is the 5th day. She stayed at your side rather longer during this visit than she has those in the past, and now the sun is beginning to set. The witch busied herself for hours playing with you as one might a doll. Then you, though you, of course, are much more than that. While dolls have hard, impermeable bodies made of porcelain, which are incapable of experiencing sensation, it is not so for you. I would love nothing more. That sounds wonderful. You feel every single touch the witch bestows upon you. When her fingernails pressed against your scalp, you cannot help but shudder. You have begun to think during the ensuing days that perhaps things would be easier if you were a doll. Then you would not sigh so from her touches, would not lean into her kisses, though you wish you could lean away. If you could not feel emotions, perhaps the witch would not take so much obvious delight in drawing them out of you. Then perhaps she would not torment you so. Like a playground bully, the witch keeps on pressing. She pokes and she prods until your stony facade crumbles. She takes delight in your whimpers, but she seems to enjoy it all the more when you snap at her. You have told the witch to leave you alone before, but she never does. Your aggression only ever procures from her that light tinkling laughter which has begun to grate on you so, the laughter of a child who knows not the hurt she is causing. Or perhaps she does not know, or perhaps she does know, but she does not care. You are unsure what is worse. The witch finally seems to have had enough of your company, however, because she rises from your bed. The witch observes you, her long-lashed eyes narrowed, then says, "It is unfortunate, but I fear I cannot spend too much more time by your side. I need to be off. Even I have work to do." Which chores do you have to do? I guess she is going around granting wishes for people. Although she says, she mentioned that she needed to do something for money, but I don't see how you make money from granting wishes. Unless there's some sort of like donation type thing. You are unsure whether you can survive the fall, no matter how verdant the grass is at the base of your tower. And even if you did survive and your legs did not break from the impact, which are already two great superstitions, you would not know where to run. You do not know where the city is. For all you know, it could be miles and miles away. Fae deals. It could even be across a sea of lava, across the dark, tempestuous ocean. Tempestuous. Like a tempest. Like full of tempests. Tempestuous. That word doesn't seem to work in my brain. I know what it means, but I don't get how to pronounce it. You have no idea if this is the country you were born in, and neither do you know where you are in any map. The witch is the only person who can tell you where you are, and you get the distinct feeling that she is not being wholly truthful with you. She responds to your queries, yes, but her words seem to bend just like the sunlight when it meets the surface of the mirror. Her words are like quicksilver. They shift and mutate, and you cannot pin them down. When you ask her where you are, she smiles and laughs and says, "Why, in this tower, of course." When you ask her where the tower is, she says, "In the woods." This is not a lie, of course. You are most definitely in a tower which is situated in the woods, but any attempt to extricate further information from her results in laughter. If you ask too many questions, she invariably starts kissing you. I love that, like, hush, you're being too nosy. There's only one way to shut you up. It's quite effective at shutting you up. It's very hard to articulate yourself when the witch's tongue is nudging against your own, and her arms are about you, and you are sighing. When she takes you in her arms and she holds you and she kisses you, and you forget about all your questions. You forget about trying to escape, if only for a few brief blissful moments where nothing else seems to matter save her. Then she leaves you, and you find yourself feeling more uneasy than ever before, disgusted at yourself for cleaving so easily to her kisses, and even more confused. You still have no idea where you are, but maybe the particulars don't matter. Ebi-Hime is Her writing is immaculate. It is truly perfect. Every scenario she sets up is so good. I saw that she has a deal on Steam to get all of her games. And she has way more games than I expected because the deal is like, it's like $225 or something when it's normally like $250. You are in a tower in the forest, but nobody but the witch knows where you are. Nobody will be coming to save you, and you cannot save yourself. Even if you could jump from the window, you can't, and you knew where the city was. You don't. There is something rather uncouth about attempting to escape. Let's see. Oh. You are a princess, after all, and princesses aren't supposed to rescue themselves. That is not how stories like these go. They're supposed to wait until a handsome prince rescues them, and that's what you do. Like a good little girl, you sit by your window, looking out over the forest, which stretches on endlessly, and you think. You daydream and you dither, but in the end, you do absolutely nothing. What else do princesses do other than wait? That's why you began reading. That's why you begin reading. Oh, she has a Yuri specific bundle? Ugh. Hold on, I want to take a look. I wonder how much that is. Because like I really do want to buy all of her games, but it's a bit too expensive for me at the moment. Ooh, Yuri bundle. Asphyxia. Strawberry vinegar. Blackberry honey. Rituals in the dark. That sounds good. The fairy's song. My dear prince. All the words she wrote. Salem's kiss. Dreamy planet. The fairy's secret. Fragile feelings. And clear sky thinking. It's $97 right now when it is normally $120. Pretty tempted. I'll have to look into that more. It's fortunate that the tower isn't completely devoid of entertainment. There are books, at least, shelves full of them, stacked against the stone walls. There are so many books, the wood shelves groan beneath their weight. You're hard-pressed to pick a book, but you eventually settle upon romance. It's frothy and inoffensive, and not particularly interesting, but losing yourself within its pages is better than sitting idle. It at least occupies your brain. It stops you from thinking about your predicament, which can only be described as dire. And it stops you, too, from thinking about her. That really is the most frustrating part about this whole experience. When the witch was with you, forever by your side, you could not wait to be rid of her. But now that you are rid of her, you have nothing left to look forward to save for her next visit. Your world has become very small indeed, since you were kidnapped, compressing down on itself, until it could be fit inside a walnut shell. That is why you read. If you immerse yourself in somebody else's life, even if it is a made-up life, it might stop you thinking about your own. Relatable. Me with all media I consume. At the moment, it's the only meaningful way in which you can be free. Maybe consuming media is also toxic, Yuri. That must be why I'm so good at consuming it. The witch retrieves the brush from your bedside table and then approaches you. She has done this many times before, but you find yourself shrinking away from her regardless. You do not want the witch touching your hair. You do not want her touching any part of you. You do not want to be alone, but you do not want to be with her either. You do not want her to disappear, but you cannot bear to look at her. Paralyzed by indecision, not knowing what you want, not knowing what to say, you edge away, small and afraid, while the witch smiles. Now, let me make you beautiful. The mattress depresses beneath the witch's thighs and you sigh. I think I've already read this. Yeah. My, somebody's eager. Did you miss me that much, dear one? Your face flushes at this like a red-capped mushroom, and inwardly you wince. Aren't princesses supposed to be calm, composed, perfectly poised? You might not remember much of your past, nor of your life in the palace, but you think you should be accustomed to compliments at this point. Surely princes have been going down on one knee and taking your hand for years, ever since your 18th birthday. It should be ingrained in you, but you feel awkward and clumsy before the witch's words regardless, stripped bare and oddly exposed. It is enough to make you wonder, are you really a princess at all? You look at your feet. You cannot look at the witch, your captor. Ah, okay. Her giving us the books. Apparently, I'm a very good princess then. You mean to reply. Really, you do, but the words catch in your throat. Your initial instinct is to thank the witch for her kindness, but why should you? She kidnapped you. You do not owe the witch anything. You should not owe her anything, at least, but it makes it all the more complicated to navigate this gift. What should you do? You dither for a few moments, rendered mute. You never know what to say to the witch. While the witch chuckles. Well, let me leave these for you at your bedside table. You can peruse them when it's most convenient for you, or not if they aren't to your liking. I'm not boorish enough to force a gift upon a fair maiden if she doesn't want it. That is quite curious, given she was boorish enough to kidnap you. Now, let me look at you. How have you been faring in my absence? Why does the witch make you feel like this? You do not know, but you wish she didn't. It makes your skin crawl. Oh dear, your hair looks awfully naughty. I fear you have not been taking proper care of it. The time between jumps is getting smaller and smaller, it feels like. The time unspools before you, each day blurring into the other. You have so much time now, but there is precious little to fill it save reading. You have gone through most of the books in the tower already, and you are beginning to long for something more than light, frothy fairy tales, even more insubstantial than sea foam. Perhaps you will ask the witch for more books when she next visits you, though you have no idea when that will be. Her visits are sporadic, and she does not always stay for very long. She seems to care more about how you look than what you think, and she fusses about your hair and clothes more than your words. But maybe that is to be expected. You are a princess, after all. You were raised to be a sacrificial lamb to be bartered away to the highest bidder. Damn. That is how all princesses are, whether they are engaged to princes or kidnapped by witches. They exist to be looked at and to be admired. What they think of is little consequence. The witch's treatment of you rankled in the beginning. It stung your pride, you suppose, as a princess. In the beginning, you railed against her. Now, however, you've begun to miss her company. Every day, when you awake, you are made anew of just how much your world has shrunk. It contains nothing save the witch. There is nothing for you to anticipate beyond her visits. Nobody for you to speak to save the voices in your own head. It wears upon you, but you have the strangest of feelings that this is where you belong. This is your new world. You are playing the role that is expected of you, for this is not what princesses are, or is this not what princesses are supposed to do? Being a prisoner must be in your blood. It is part of who you are, ingrained into you, just like your knowledge on how to pour a cup of tea without spilling it, or how to address your superiors without making a nuisance out of yourself. You know how to be quiet, how to be meek, how to be mild. You do not know how to stop worrying, however. What will happen to you if the witch begins to tire of you? What then? Oh, I see. Interesting. So many girls demand so much of me, it fast becomes tiring, so they can be ungrateful too. It almost feels like being back in the conservatory again. What was her name? Rosette? Wasn't her name literally Rosette? Yeah, I think her name was literally Rosette, and then this witch talks about the conservatory, and she's covered in like rose-like aesthetics. So I wonder if this could be Rosette. The conservatory? What is that? Some sort of school for witches? Never you mind, dear. The witch chuckles softly, her fingers stilling in your hair. Her voice sounds light as always, but you detect a strange note to it, a degree of hesitance. Did she misspeak? Perhaps she let slip a bit more than she intended. It is a nuisance, that is all. I vowed that I would not take on more favors for others, but even witches must fulfill their purpose. I have rather begun to sicken of other people. They can go and rot for all I care. Once again, the witch is toying with your hair. She never seems to tire of it, and you no longer try to pull away from her. You do not want to. You have grown comfortable in her presence, more than you imagined you might, and the witch has seen this. She has sensed the easing of your breathing, the slumping of your shoulders as she smiles from it, amused by your easy acquiescence to her affection. You have become docile, just like a cat. She is very well aware of it, and this fact brings a blush to your face. You look at your lap, your eyes half-lidded, and tell her that you are simply too tired to fight her off. You have been her prisoner for so long, it would be foolish to remain antagonistic towards her. She is the one, after all, who feeds you, who entertains you, who keeps you company. You really are a good girl. You were quite the handful in the beginning, but you've warmed up a good deal. It makes for quite the change. Do you also love me? You have been fighting off slowly mounting feelings of deja vu since you first awoke in this tower, but this question finally brings you to your senses. You feel as though you have finally awoken, just like Sleeping Beauty from a long, long dream. The witch has asked you this question once before. She asked you whether you loved her, and you refused her. You were too proud and haughty to accept her love, and you paid for it. She splashed your blood against the tower floor, and you were left to lie there in a heap, a sad, pathetic pile. You did not look very much like a princess then, for all of your airs and graces. Hi, Huron. It's good to see you. That is understandable. English is hard. The witch left you to die, but she is a merciful witch, and she has given you a second chance. What will you say to her this time? We can finally tell her... Huh? Oh, Huron, thank you for the follow. I love you. In the face of the witch's inquisition, there is only one thing you can say. There is only one thing that destiny will allow you to say. This is the moment that your story has led up to. This is why you exist within this tower with the witch watching over you. You exist solely so that you can love her, and you know the moment the words pass your lips that you have done your duty. You have fulfilled your role in this story. There will be no more resisting from you now. Your shoulders slump in relief, finally content with your newfound bondage with this repeating, recursive nightmare as the witch smiles. She looks at you tenderly, as a mother might a child, as though you are her child, and you have pleased her by eating all of your vegetables or tidying up your toys. It took some doing, but you have finally given her the correct answer. Of course you love the witch. How could you not? She is all you know in this world and all you have to rely on. And is blind resilience not what love is? Or blind reliance? Ah, Suzu, hi! Bark, bark, woof, woof! Bark, bark, bark! Hi, Suzu. How are you doing? You're goo? I'm glad you're goo. I'm doing good. I'm having a lot of fun with my toxic Yuri. The witch seems to agree because she giggles. Her fingers curl against your captive cheeks, her nails digging into them just hard enough to hurt, so sharp she threatens, for a brief moment, to draw blood. But your concerns are soon allayed or else overwritten when the witch leans in. Softly, she says, I knew you couldn't keep holding out against me. You were awfully stubborn, but all of that silly resistance is in the past. Finally, you're all mine. My adorable, pretty princess. Then she kisses you. A harsh, crushing kiss which robs the air from your very lungs. and the sense cleans out of your skull. You thought, after confiding in the witch, that she might be more compelled to spend time with you. You had hoped, by sharing your gentle, blossoming feelings, it would kindle a newfound understanding between the two of you, and that she would come to care for you. You had hoped. Oh, you were not sure what you had hoped. Not anymore, but it was not this. The days continued to slide by, as slippery as an eel's back, yet you see no sign of the witch. She left you food enough to last several weeks, food which does not seem to sprout mold nor turn sour, no matter how much time passes. Perhaps it is enchanted. The hard loaves of rye bread the witch bequeathed you do not turn bluish white from age, and the cheese she bestows you with retain much of their flavor. The punnets of strawberries are still sweet, the cherries tantalizingly tart. You are not in any danger of languishing anytime soon, but though your stomach is full, your heart feels disconcertingly empty. It feels as though the witch has stolen something from you, something precious which you cannot recover. The witch has already stolen you from your old home, your old life. She may also have stolen your old memories, though you are less sure about that. You are beginning to fear, however, that in the wake of your confession, she has stolen something even more intimate. She has stolen your affection, plucking words of love from your lips as easily as she might twist a berry from a bush or the heads from a flower. She has harvested your feelings in a manner which, in retrospect, seems uncomfortably calculated. Did she lavish you with gifts so that you might grow to adore her? Did she cultivate your feelings on purpose in the hopes of reaping them, of having something else to steal from you? Now that she has claimed your heart, perhaps she no longer finds you amusing. Has she begun to grow bored of you? What will happen to you then? Will she abandon you, all alone in this tower, with no way of escaping, with no means of procuring your own food? If she were to do that, you are sure you would die, either of loneliness or of starvation. You are unsure which would come first. You try to take solace within the pages of the numerous novels within your tower, but you have read them all before. The stories entombed within their pages do not change. They cannot distract you from your anxieties. The actions of the put-upon heroines, in any case, all seem awfully trite. There is a lot of running through woods, brambles snagging at the hems of dresses or else catching in hair, and anyway, these stories all end badly. The heroine always dies. Huh. So, I wonder, assuming Rosette is the witch, I wonder if these books are like some of her stories that she went through with, like the the mermaid, the gravedigger, and the princess, I guess. As far as romance stories go, they are not very cheerful. They cannot console you. The witch is not there, and in her absence, you are all alone. The days continue to pass, but little changes. The witch pays you a handful of visits, but they are infrequent, a few and far between, and they are depressingly perfunctory alongside it. Aw. I'm just an eepy bun. These visits do little to assuage you that the witch still loves you. How can she when she comes and goes so very easily, just like a cat? If she loved you, could she really abandon you without a backwards glance? If you do not know, or perhaps you do not want to, dwelling upon it is too uncomfortable. Does the witch not know what she is doing to you? Oh, you're too sweet to me. Does she not know how much you have come to care for her? Surely she must, for it was she who pulled that confession, timorous though it was and uneasy, from your lips. You told the witch that you loved her and that she has repaid you by abandoning you. Did you come on too strongly? Was she unhappy to hear of your affection for her? That cannot be right, though. Not when she laughed upon hearing your confession. You thought that it would make her happy, but was that not presumptuous of you? What did you know of the witch? You do not even know her name. You work yourself up into knots, and every day which passes, so much so, your insides feel uncomfortably tangled. Not knowing what to say, nor what to do, you remain mute. It is easier to say nothing than to say too much, and to shatter what little regard the witch might have for you. But you ache for her presence, for her attention, and for her affection. And so, unable to stop yourself, you find yourself asking the witch what you did wrong. Why has she been avoiding you? Avoiding you, dear one? The witch looks at you questioningly, her expression so believably bemused that you begin to doubt yourself. I am not avoiding you. Perish the thought. Why would I do something so callous? You were not sure. That is why you were asking her. She spends so little time with you lately. You just thought, ah, that is why you were getting tripped up, dear one. You are a princess. Therefore, you should not think. You have no need for it. Princesses are made to be pampered by others, not to try and sleuth their way out of their own problems. You will be much happier if you stop worrying, silly thing. Well, yes, you suppose she is right. You can see the logic there. Your life would be a lot easier if you could simply switch off your worries as if they were a gas lamp, but... that's enough, dear one. Remember what I said. There is no sense in thinking. You will work yourself up again. But you cannot help but think. You have nothing else to occupy your hours when she is away, and she has been away so often lately. Yes, I suppose you are right. I have been keeping away from you lately, but that is not due to any malice on my part. No? Of course not. My feelings for you remain as strong as ever, but I have been awfully busy lately. That is all. There are so many sad, lonely girls out there, after all, with wishes that need granting. If I have seemed at all distracted, that is why. It has nothing to do with you, so please do not cry. I cannot bear to see you looking so sad. What? Were you crying? Yes, you are. Your eyes are wet, and so are your cheeks, you poor dear thing. The witch tuts, then leans in. I love the manipulation. It's so good. Gently, she introduces her fingers to your cheeks, cupping them as if you were something invaluable. When she touches you like that, you feel as though you are precious. On your own, it is easy to get caught up in the mire of your own thoughts, but with the witch... Shh, easy now. Try not to cry, dear one. You will spoil your pretty face. With the witch, you feel like the princess she claims that you are. She makes you feel as though for the first time in your life, you are wanted, you are needed, you are safe. And perhaps that is why you begin to cry in earnest, the gentler the witch handles you. You always thought it was a foolish saying to kill somebody with kindness, But now you think you can finally see the logic behind it. The witch is killing you, whether she knows it or not. Even when she leaves you, you are not alone. Not truly. She has burrowed her way into your heart, and there you fear she will remain, lodged from now until the end of times. You will never be able to disentangle yourself from her. You love her far too much for that. You try to maintain a positive attitude as the days elapse, afraid that you might deter the witch if you become too mawkish. What's mawkish? Is that like depressed? Sentimental in a feeble or sickly way. I see. You can get through the days well enough, brushing your hair, painting pictures, or else flipping through the numerous books. Oh! Break, break, woof, woof! Break, break! Break! Hello! I love being puppy. I'm puppy, I'm puppy, I'm puppy. You have distractions enough to keep your mind and your hands occupied, a fact for which you are thankful. You do not have many distractions, but you have enough. When the sun sinks beneath the trees, however, and the sky turns dark blue, then black, your doubts begin to pile up on you. During the night, when it is cold and the wind is blowing, you can no longer fool yourself. It has been a week, 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 since last you saw the witch. She visits you rarely now, so much so that your cool, untouched skin is beginning to yearn for the brush of her fingers. You sit by your window when the sun begins to sink, and you watch as it dips beneath the horizon. You hope, with the setting of the sun, that the witch might pay you a surprise visit. You wonder whether she might appear at the window and pull you into her arms and pepper your eyelids and your cheeks with kisses. But she never does. It's so rough. You are sitting at the window once again, as has become a commonplace occurrence for you, dreaming of what could be, of what should be. When first you were imprisoned within this stone tower, you used to dream of escaping from your confines and running far, far away. You had dreams of sitting upon a cliffside, the salty breeze in your hair and the sound of the waves upon the shore in your ears. That, or seeking refuge amongst the rows of thatched roof cottages in a quiet residence where few dwell. You dreamt of being taken in by somebody wiser than you, somebody kinder. You dreamt of being treated with care and with respect. That is all you wanted. But your wishes have shifted since then, as has your heart. No longer do you dream of the seashore, of the waves, and of the cliffs. Your dreams have become rather more isolated. You dream of residing within the walls of this tower, as you currently do, with the witch by your side. She tells you that she loves you, and you lean into her love. You accept it without question, as if her words were manna from heaven, sweeter than honey. You no longer wish to be loved in a calm, quiet, measured sort of way. You want the obsessive, all-consuming love of a witch who was determined enough to keep you a captive, What other form of love could be more meaningful than this? Gosh. This game is speaking to my soul right now. You do not want a bland love, a milquetoast love, a common, everyday, unremarkable love. You have grown accustomed to the love of a witch, a love which possesses and which consumes. You want the witch to love you as you have come to love her. But when the witch finally does come to visit you, you cannot see any love upon her face. You cannot see any love in her eyes. They are cold and hard, just like stones. You gasp when you see her. You did not expect her, and scramble to your feet. Your soles are bare. You did not bother to dress yourself. Have not bothered for the last... How many days has it been? You do not remember. You have grown rather slovenly about your appearance. You no longer care to brush your hair, to change out of your nightgown, to don your petticoat or your bodice? What's a bodice? The upper part of a woman's dress from the shoulder to the waist. A tight-fitting corset worn laced over a blouse. Oh. Or even your stockings. What is the point when the witch has stopped visiting you? You would sooner lie in your bed like a consumptive wench than slowly die. That is how it feels without the witch's company, like you are dying. You have known an intense, obsessive love, and now it is gone. Without that love, you have begun to wither away. It really is a tragedy. You hope the witch will be able to see how much you are suffering without her. You hope that she will take pity upon how very pathetic you have become, and she will promise to stay with you. You wait with wide, eager eyes that she will offer you some excuse as to her absence. It needn't be a good excuse. So long as it is not, I have grown tired of you. So long as it is not, I no longer love you. Or worse still, I never loved you. If she lies to you, you can still love her. If she lies to you, you can pretend that she still loves you. If she lies to you, she can spare your feelings. But the witch's voice is less than reassuring when she addresses you. Her voice is cool when she says, "Dear me, you are in an awful state. You haven't brushed your hair, and you haven't bothered dressing either. Some princess you are. Your parents would be ashamed if a creature like you had any parents to speak of, that is. Oh, has any parents to speak of." A creature? You look at the witch uncomprehendingly. What does she mean by that? I mean what I said. Just look at yourself. If you do not believe me, look at your reflection and then try to argue that you aren't a creature. You would look at yourself, but there is no mirror. You have not seen your own face, save for the faint reflection in the witch's dark eyes for... God, how long have you been trapped in here? Ah, yes, I suppose that is true. I was hoping you might remember who you are for yourself without me needing to spell things out for you. But you're remarkably dense, aren't you? I thought you were supposed to be wise, but I suppose even the most powerful of witches are capable of self-delusion. Wait. Are we? Are we playing as Medea? That would be very interesting. When the truth becomes too unpleasant for them to confront it. What does she mean, witches? You thought that you were a princess. Oh yes, I did tell you that, didn't I? I thought it would be amusing. A bit of a role reversal. I had wondered if you would like to be the heroine in a love story for once rather than the antagonist, but this has dragged on for far too long already. It isn't entertaining anymore. It was never that entertaining in the beginning, to be honest. But then again, I've never been as cruel as you are, and I don't enjoy reveling in other people's misery. I just thought that you deserved a taste of your own medicine. Your own medicine? What is she talking about? What do you think? Just take a look. This should answer all of your questions, dear one. The witch, but is she a witch? Smiles sardonically, her eyes half-lidded, as she reaches into the wicker basket which dangles from the crook of her arm. From within it, blanketed beneath a scrap of red fabric, she extracts a gilt mirror. The witch polishes the mirror with the hem of her satiny gown, then hands it to you with an anticlimactic "Here." Your fingers brush as you reach tumultuously to take the mirror. Your innate desire, upon seeing that mirror, is to draw away from it, or else to dash upon the ground. You do not want to think about what you will see reflected within its smooth, glassy surface. You are afraid if you acquiesce, all of this will be over. You will no longer be able to pretend to be a princess, but you are aware, at long last, that you are pretending. Perhaps you were always aware of it. You never really felt like a princess, even when the witch bestowed this identity upon you. The word princess never resonated within you. It never felt like you. You still cannot remember spending your days within a palace, or a castle, or even a dungeon guarded by a dragon. You cannot remember meeting any princesses, kings, or queens. You are not a princess then. You were never a princess. But of course, you always knew that. You just wanted to play pretend. But the face which stares up at you from the mirror's smooth, untroubled glass, all pale skin and dark, staring eyes, makes it obvious just what you really are. You were, and always will be, a witch. That's right. The witch, Rosette, regards you unblinkingly with dark, dead eyes, eyes which have seen far too much for one so young. But how young is she really? How long was she trapped, running through that fractured fairy tales as she tried to escape from you? You do not know. You hardly recognized her, but you recognize yourself. You might have lost sight of who you were when Rosette left you, but now, do you remember? I remember. I always remembered. My name is Medea. Yes, that's right. I am Medea, and this girl is, or was, Rosette. And though our paths continue to cross, we have always been alone. This girl, once so innocent and assuming, languishing for want of love, has known what it feels like to be adored to the point of insanity. She has been drowned, buried, and consumed by love, and in so doing she changed. She is not the girl she once was. She has become a fine witch of her own right, with eyes that reflect no light, with a heart that contains no love. She caught you, me, us, while we were drifting, bereft, languishing for the lack of a little girl who had oh so cruelly broken ties with us, and she imprisoned us. I don't know how long we have been trapped here, nor how long Rosette has been toying with us, but I cannot even bring myself to resent her. I cannot hate her, no matter how much she might have hurt me. She called upon me when she was alone, and I answered. I promised that I would be there for her. We made a vow, and though she turned her back on me, our connection was never really severed. The love of a witch, after all, is a powerful thing. Even when poisoned, it continues to bloom bright red like roses. Rosette. Ah, my adorable, beautiful Rosette. No matter how much time passes, I still find myself drawn to you. Even now, I still adore you. Whether a mermaid, a poor village girl, or a princess, I will continue to love you. My feelings for you will never waver, even if you never had any fondness to spare for me. How could it? You ought to know yourself now, after becoming a witch in your own right, that it really does get so lonely here. Oh, there's like a video? The end of an obsession. I love this song. This Oh my gosh. That was amazing. I hmm. Did we finish the game then? That was so fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be honest, I really did not think that we would finish this in one stream. But that was such a beautiful little package. I adored everything about that. There was a part, like, I almost cried. And gosh. I am so obsessed with this. Oh my gosh. Oh, hi Noah. um, I'm doing well. We just finished this game and I'm kind of going through a bit of an emotional roller coaster right now. You've been meaning to meet me for a while? Have you heard about me from someone else or something? No apologies needed. It was absolutely fantastic. Oh, from Lily. Was it Lily Blue 53 maybe? Or... I know a few different Lilies, so I'm not 100% sure. Ah, okay. I apologize. I'm just a little bit stun-locked at how good that ending was. I did not expect like a MV. But notes? Oh. Hello everyone. Once again it's Ebi. Thank you very much for checking out the end of an obsession. I hope you enjoyed it, or at the very least found it interesting. As always, I'll jot down a few notes to explain some of the influences behind this little story and what inspired me to write it. Let's get going. So, off the bat, this is a sequel to It Gets So Lonely Here. Lonely is a free Yandere Yuri VN, which I made for the 2023 Yandere Jam. I did not know that was a thing, but I need to check that out. You've probably read it already if you're reading these notes, and if you haven't, I apologize. I feel like Obsession builds quite heavily upon the themes established in Lonely, so if you've not read Lonely, I'm not sure how you'll get out of it, how much you'll get out of it. But it's a VN which ostensibly has 3 routes, with 3 different heroines, but player choice is all an illusion, and it's essentially a linear story. You need to read all 3 routes to get the true ending and to fully understand what happens. Rest you with the stretch. Yeah, I think it would be pretty depressing to read this without first reading Lonely. 'Cause I don't know. Thank you, Ressie. I didn't have any plans to write a sequel or any additional content, even though Lonely was unexpectedly popular. I think it's my most downloaded VN to date. I was going to let it lie, but then I had an idea. I decided I wanted to take another crack at doing a Yandere Yuri story. The initial idea which sparked it was a vague thought. What if the protagonist was kidnapped by an obsessive Yandere who later grows bored of her and tosses her aside? How would a person deal with that? I thought this... Oh, Choppy, thank you for the raid. And Noah, thank you for the head pat. I thought this was an interesting idea, and it would be a pretty sturdy scaffold for a grimdark Yandere story. Initially, I was going to set the story in the modern day, and have the main character be some sort of shy university student who gets kidnapped by a stalker and chained up in their basement, or something along those lines. But I eventually decided this concept was just too depressing to actually write. I'd written some pretty dark stories in the past which deal with some discomforting subject matter, but the thought of writing about a killing, stalking-esque scenario made me feel uncomfortable. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to pull it off tastefully, especially since instances like this happen in real life. I didn't really want to turn such a tragic real-world scenario into an edgy shock content grimdark VN, so I held off on it. I decided to shelve the idea. Until I was listening to the song Open Window by Hungry Lucy, and I was struck by some of the lyrics. I can't hold you tonight, my world wrapped in sorrow. I won't hold you again, so now I'll be all alone. The dreamy yearning of the song made me think about my original idea. What if a girl was kidnapped by Yandere who gets bored of her? And I started to reiterate upon it. What if instead of setting the story in the modern day, I made it a fairy tale based upon Rapunzel and included several scenes of our lovelorn heroine sitting at the window of her tower, waiting not for a prince to rescue her, but the witch who kidnapped her to see her again? That sounded like a more viable way to explore my original idea without it touching on any unpleasant real-world parallels or being too upsetting to write about. I'd also wanted to write a Rapunzel-style story for a while anyways, after reading The Golden Rope by Tanith Lee, which is a gorgeously written gothic retelling of Rapunzel by one of my favorite authors. I love Tanith Lee's works a lot, and you owe it to yourself to check her out. Her writing is gorgeous. It is significantly better than mine. Yeah, I also love this because like getting, I think, a significant portion of art and really experiencing and enjoying art is understanding the author's thought process, and sometimes the art itself speaks to that thought process, but other times you can get way more out of the author themselves, and I think that's really cool. So I decided on what sort of story I wanted to write, but that's when I thought about associating this Rapunzel-esque witch princess captive toxic Yuri tale with Lonely. Lonely was heavily based on fairy tales with its mermaids and princesses and witches, and I thought it only made sense to link these two tales together, given the thematic similarities. I figured it would be fun to write something set after the events of Lonely, when Rosette has broken free from Medea's loving grasp. Lonely is a pretty vague, dreaming story. While it was based on fairy tales, that's up for interpretation, and the ending seemed open enough that I could play around a little with the two leading ladies after the curtain had closed. Rosette already suffered enough in Lonely, so I thought about casting Medea as the main heroine this time. I thought it'd be a fun twist to make a heartbroken, amnesiac Medea the princess, languishing in a tower, while Rosette, once a tragic heroine who suffers innumerable deaths, takes on the role of a witch. Twisted by all the misfortunes which befell her in Lonely, Rosette vows to take her revenge on Medea by subjecting her to a loop of death and despair inside the fairy tale world of her own creation, a fantastical birdcage with no exit, where Medea must fall in love with her, or else. Rosette has no interest in Medea's love, however, and she is toying with her former tormentor to achieve her own catharsis. Are there any other bunny girls in the chat? Probably not. She intends, upon making Medea love her, to abandon her, and in so doing destroy her completely, and emerge the ultimate winner in their toxic lesbian magical showdown. So this is basically See? Higurashi. Should I skip this? Nah, I don't know. I won't. I'm sure you've all experienced Higurashi at least somewhat. So this is basically Higurashi Sotsu, right? Rosette and Medea are Rika and Satoko, aren't they? Or maybe you could say they're Burn and Lambda. There's some definitive When They Cry influences here. I just hope it isn't too overt and the story can stand on its own as something sufficiently interesting. Fair. I will say Higurashi Sotsu is my favorite season of Higurashi because it made Satoko my favorite character. Like when I first started Higurashi, I didn't think much about Satoko at all. And for a long time she was just sort of a side character to me until seasons 4 and 5 where she became like the main girl in my mind. I wasn't sure initially whether I would release this VN at all, given Lonely was so popular, and several people asked me if I would write more, specifically about the princesses who seemed to be a favorite. I don't usually get too self-conscious about my writing, but I was a bit worried that this story would fail to live up to expectations, since it's so much shorter than Lonely. The action is all consigned to a single location, and the princesses don't show up. There are only 2 characters this time, and one of them isn't present for a significant chunk of the story, so I worried this story wouldn't be interesting for people. I thought about scrapping this project numerous times, but the gorgeous art by Kale Chips and the haunting soundtrack by Yuzuki made me reconsider. I love the OST for this short little VN especially, and thought it would be a shame to let it go to waste when so much effort had been put into it. I think the soundtrack is actually better than the story it's appended to, but hopefully the story, the art, and the music all come together in a nice cohesive package. I apologize if this continuation of Lonely isn't quite what people wanted, and I'm sorry that the 3 love interests from Lonely don't make a reappearance. I think their story was concluded nicely already, but I did want to dig a little more into Rosette and Medea. I think they're the most interesting characters in Lonely personally. They're also the only characters who have names, and I did have fun making them suffer. I hope this story was diverting, and thank you once again for checking it out. You're the best. I couldn't keep creating if not for the support of people like you, and it really does mean a lot. Gosh, it's so fantastic. It's funny, she talks about she apologizes if this isn't quite what people wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. Like, this is to the T, like a perfect continuation in my mind. And my only real complaint is I wish I had more of it. But also, it ended on such a perfect note that I couldn't ever expect more to be written about it. It's so... I don't know, it makes me really happy and kind of want to cry. All good things come to an end. It's true. Well, that was a fantastic game. I really appreciate you all for sticking with me through it. Gosh, so good. I'd love a hug right now. Anyway, my throat is kind of starting to hurt, and I think it might be a good time to raid somebody. And tomorrow we are going to be continuing Fate. We're gonna be continuing Fate for a long time. So and then I guess next Wednesday is Christmas, huh? So I might not stream on Wednesday. Or maybe I'll just take next week off. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I'll be streaming tomorrow unless something happens. And I'll discuss more about what I plan on doing then. Thank you all for sticking with me. Let's find somebody to raid. Ah, Suzu's playing that game about kissing ghosts. Let's raid them. Kissing ghosts is always fun. Okay, I will send us over now, but I love you all so much. Thank you for enjoying Toxic Yuri with me, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.